All right, everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed lunch. Hope it was good. And there is the carnivory dinner tonight. If you're signed up, it will be at Zor. We have a section at Zor for about 35, 40 people. Almost all the speakers, those that bought VIP tickets, and those that signed up for the dinner itself. Okay, I think that's all the announcements. Tomorrow, yes?
Yeah, can we still?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do it in the
Just talk to me, like, and just come by at the next break or something. We should be able to fit a few more people. All right, without any further ado, our next keynote presentation is Simon from Mempool Space. I'm sure you've seen the website on my YouTube channel all the time. And 25 minutes is good for you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. 25 minutes, and take it away.
Hi guys. Let's see if we can get the slides up. Yeah. So my name is Simon, and I'm the creator of the open source and a project called Mempool, a blockchain explorer for Bitcoin community. So what I'm just going to cover quickly in this talk is explain what is the mempool and how to use mempool, and lastly why you should run mempool. So to explain what the mempool is, I have this illustration here of the Bitcoin network. So imagine the Bitcoin network is just a fully decentralized network of thousands of nodes that are talking to each other. So, and each node have a copy of the blockchain, and each node also have what's called a mempool, where basically unconfirmed transactions are stored. So, if you, for example, have a Bitcoin wallet, you have it in your phone or desktop, you are sending a transaction. It gets broadcasted maybe to your wallet's provider server, and then it gets broadcasted to the Bitcoin network, and it gets propagated and duplicated on all the nodes, and gets added to all the individual mempools in all different nodes. So there's nothing actually like the mempool, because the mempool can be different from node to node. It depends all on like settings, latency, if it's offline or online. There's a lot of difference. So there's and then I illustrated here that some of the nodes also have miners behind them. So the miners will just grab transactions from the mempool. Often they take the transactions with the highest fee first, and they will try to build a block with those transactions. And when they find a block, they will also, in the same way, publish that block on the network, and it gets propagated throughout the network. So this is basically how Bitcoin works in a nutshell. So this website called Mempool that I created, it's just visualizing straight from a node what's happening in a Bitcoin node. So the base feature, where you can see to the right here, that you see the latest blocks that's come in, and to the left you see what is the mempool from the node. So there are the transactions sorted by highest fee first and grouped into blocks. So we can get here some kind of estimate of what the next blocks are going to be. And you can see visually what are the fees currently, how big are the next blocks, when are they going to arrive, and so forth. And there's other general features like showing the status of the network right now, how fast transactions are coming in, how overloaded the mempool is right now. And another page we have is the historical and the current mempool graph, so you can get a sense of how busy the mempool is right now, and the fees are represented in different colors. So there's basically two main features what people use when they use the Mempool website. So firstly is, before you make a transaction, you need to know what fee should I use. So it's used as a fee estimator. You can look at the website, you can make up your mind, which fee should I put in my wallet before I'm sending. And the second, the most popular, I'd say, is live tracking your transaction after the transaction has been broadcasted. So, as you can see here zoomed in, the mempool to the right, you can see how you can even see very detailed here, like 4 to 5 satoshis per byte to end up in this block right here, and the median fee in this whole block is 4 sats per byte. So if you are a more intermediate user, you might look at this more closely and decide what fee should I use to save more on fees. Because if you use like a random fee estimator online, you might end up paying $100 instead of $20 in fee. And if you're a user that regularly makes transactions, you will end up saving a lot. So, and this is the view when you're live tracking your transaction. And the cool thing is that you actually see an arrow exactly where in the mempool that your transaction is located. So you will see the arrow move back and forth as it's getting pushed back or forth as the mempool is constantly changed and new blocks are being mined. And as after new blocks are coming in, the transaction being mined, you see the arrow move to be included in the recent mined blocks here. So here you can see that this transaction has 3 confirmations, which means that it's in the 3rd block from the tip of the blockchain. So that is usually what you see if you deposit to an exchange, for example, it will require maybe 3 confirmations. It actually just means it has to be 3 blocks down. So it's a very handy way of following a transaction, seeing where it is. And yeah, I'm standing here and I want to tell you, you should get yourself a node, you should run Mempool, and I guess there's a lot of people that don't run a node and they will just say, why don't, right? So this news just came out like a couple of weeks ago. So there was a block explorer that secretly was being run by Chainalysis. And they were collecting people's information. When they search for the transaction, they look up their address, they are logging your IP, they're connecting you, specific user, to certain coins. As I mentioned here before, an IP is just a call away to your name, basically. So there's actually these surveillance companies actively going on and trying to surveil the network, and Chainalysis is the most infamous one. So, and that is one of the reasons why you should run a node. And here's an example, like a node device to run on a Raspberry Pi just looks like this. And Umbrel is currently one of the most popular node all-in-one solutions. You just get your Umbrel, you plug in the SD card, you have this nice dashboard here, and you have the Mempool app just as an app in an app store. So you just one click and it's up and running. You have your own fully functioning version of the Mempool app right on your node and on your computer, and you can use it from there. Look up transactions, and everything you do would be fully private way. Everything would just look up straight from the Bitcoin node that you have at home. So, and when you're working with a wallet, I tend to like this setup. There have been multiple wallets here being named, like Sparrow, Spectre, which are really great. I like Electrum a lot. It has multi-sig, it has a lot of features, and you can pair your hardware wallet like Trezor or Coldcard with your Electrum, and then you connect Electrum to your own node. And this is how you should use Bitcoin and how you should transact on the network. And the problem is that it gets a little bit technical when you want to set up, for example, Electrum to only connect to your node, because default it will connect to a multitude of nodes, and it will actually, it's random people online that are hosting Electrum servers. So I have like one slide here where you have to set up, if you are running Electrum, you want to connect it to your node. Firstly, you have to change the setting of the Electrum depending on what kind of system you're running and set that to one server true. It means that it should only solely connect to one server, and then you go to the Electrum setting and just paste the local address to your node, and it could be, if you're running Umbrel or Raspberry Pi, the address is different. From the Umbrel interface, you can simply just copy this URL. And as you can see here in the status, my Electrum says connected to one node, it's my node. So everything I do from my Electrum and transacting and stuff, it will just use my node. And let's see. Yeah, and another thing you can do from Electrum, and you can do it in other wallets as well, is you can actually just change the custom block explorer that are being used when you're looking at transaction for tracking. So here I changed the custom default to Raspberry Pi Local and the port for the Mempool app. So when I right-click on a transaction in Electrum, click View on Block Explorer, it will immediately just open the transaction on my Mempool instance, right? So otherwise it will take you to some default, I don't know, and you will immediately just leak your IP like I just said before. So these two things are quite important, and all this stuff depends on wallet you're running. If you're using Sparrow or Spectre, some of these wallets they do this stuff automatically for you and stuff. So it really depends which one you like. So, but in any case, which wallet you use, and if you use it in a proper way, you will end up in a scenario like this instead. Like you maybe saw the previous slide, I had an evil server here that is an intermediate taking care of your, instead you replace that with your personal node. So it will be your wallet community to your node straight out to the Bitcoin network, and there's no trusted third party that can be in the middle and doing weird stuff. And yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about this, because I personally have seen this shift this past few years where there was one type of legacy Bitcoin infrastructure where it's my first Bitcoin wallet, for example, was blockchain.info, and it's basically you go to a website to host your wallet. And if I think about that, right, that's the most unsecure way of using a wallet ever. Go to someone else's website, right? So what I'm seeing now is that people like BTC Pay Server, Sparrow wallet, Spectre wallet that has been mentioned here before, they are made solely for being, you should connect straight to your node to operate your, handle your Bitcoin. And in the same way, Mempool works the same way. It's a block explorer where you can do everything in a free, private way. So this is very exciting, and this is the reason why I'm working on this. And when we have countries like El Salvador and people actually like adopting, and we're going to make mass adoption for Bitcoin, it's very important that these kind of tools, people that are new to this are getting pulled into the right tools from the beginning. So when you have like a hotel or a restaurant in El Salvador, for example, that they actually learn how to do this key management or this using this product from the start. Because otherwise they will start out using some custodian service, and they will give out all their data, all their coins at someone else's custody, how much Bitcoin they earn. All this data is getting collected and sold off. So it's really important that we as a Bitcoiners that work on doing this stuff focus on building these open source tools, replacing the legacy bad actor Bitcoin companies, and spread the knowledge, and together we're building the next financial system as good as we can. So just to recap, we run the official Mempool version on the domain mempool.space. We also have a separate website for Liquid Network on liquid.network. And we also have a Mempool version of the BISC market site, and the BISC is a peer-to-peer decentralized exchange where you can buy and sell Bitcoin to fiat without KYC. And we have a growing number of community integrations. Like I said, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, MyNode, Ronin Dojo, and all these node solutions where you just can one-click install the Mempool app and run it yourself. And there's also a lot of wallets that are integrating. When you click on a transaction, it will open go to mempool.space. But like I said, you shouldn't trust anyone, even not me. I can stand here and tell you I'm not going to log your IP, I'm not going to sell your IP, but it's trust, don't verify, right? So don't trust me, run your own node. Yeah, that's it. So you can reach out on Twitter. We have the Mempool account, @Mempool. I am softsimon_ on Twitter, and the open source project is on GitHub. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Simon. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
Got a question? All right, cool.
Yeah. One more mic. Yeah. Here. Hey guys, can you give them a receiver? Well, wait before you ask. No, that one. Yeah, just hold it down. Is it on? Just hold it longer. Boom. Just leave it here.
So I have kind of a technical question. I was looking at the Mempool on GitHub, and I was surprised that it requires like extra database on the backend. That why can't it just pull all the data from the Mempool, and like how much hard drive data it actually requires to run this Mempool with its database? Thanks.
Well, we have like two ways of running it. So one way is just with the Bitcoin core. So and then there's an Node.js backend that runs a MySQL database, and just for the statistics and stuff basically. But if you want to run the full version that we're running on mempool.space, you also need a separate Electrum server created by Blockstream. So that is the main engine for the whole database index. So that's using a separate database like that. So I think that's the reason. So it's like two separate backends in a way, but it's depending on what kind of solution. Because when you're running Mempool on a Raspberry Pi, you're not using the full 1 terabyte index that we are using on the main server. It's a more lightweight that is only relying on Bitcoin Core and Romance Electrum Rust server.
I see.
More questions? All right, one more question back there. No, I got it. It's okay, I got it.
All right, last question.
There's kind of two questions, if I'm cheeky. On the diagram of the kind of blockchain and the tip, to the left, you're predicting the next block. How do you do that? Is it just by fees? And then the second question is, when it does get mined, do you have any statistics on how accurate you were?
Yes. It's actually quite basic. It's just, like I said, it's just sorting by fees first. And then it also runs an algorithm that takes care of what's called child pay for parents, which means that our transactions are depending on each other. Like there might be a high fee transaction, but there's a low fee transaction that is required for the first one to get mined, so they get like reordered in a special way. So there is an active measurement. If you technical and use Chrome tools, like developer tools, you're able to see the predictability accuracy. And it's quite high actually. It's around 90 to 100% in most of the time to predict, but it's also like updated live, right? So it cannot really predict what's going to happen in the future so well, but it's going to predict what's happening like exactly this moment. So when a block is mined, it's usually quite accurate.
It must be quite useful for certain people.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Simon, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's give